Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports tips from around the world. We are about to see the bias of Nick Wright firsthand. I haven't seen this clip at all, but it's going to be about Luka and the Mavericks, and I already know what he's going to say and how he's going to elevate this to being this big deal for Luka, and we are going to expose it. So let's take a listen, and then we'll break it down from there.
What does this run mean for Luka?
I mean, that he has continued every year of his career, save one, exceeded expectations. And I think is unfairly maligned maybe by how good he was immediately and the fact that I think the majority of people watching this show that are diehard sports fans watch that entire series thinking Luka's probably a couple years older than SGA. When Luka's younger than SGA.
Yep.
That Luka Doncic has been the underdog in every playoff series he's played in, has been the road team in every series but one, and the one he was the home team, he missed the first two home games with an injury, so he's never had home court advantage. Every series he's been in except for round one this year was against a top 9 defense. He has played the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 9th defense in his career. Despite all of that, his playoff numbers are so bananas that this Western Conference semifinals, when he averaged 25, 11, and 9, it was the worst series of his career. He now has beaten the number 1 seed twice already in his career and is, before he hits 26 years old, in his 2nd conference finals as the best player. 2 years he's been in the playoffs with an all-star-ish teammate. Jalen Brunson was on his way. Kyrie is clearly all-star caliber. Both years he ended in the at least got to the conference finals. So this, I think he gets I think because Harden was so bad in the playoffs and they have similar stylistic things that people assumed he wouldn't be great in the playoffs, but he has, and he's never lost a series he was supposed to win. He's never been in a series he was supposed to, like the Vegas favorite. So that's what I think. I think he continues to be great.
Whew, okay, you ready to jump into this? Okay, first off, let me say this at the top. Luka is an unbelievable player. He is going to be, when he's going to retire and be an all-time great Hall of Famer, just a great player. Never said otherwise. I think he's an unbelievable player. I think he needs to mature and grow up, and I said that his complaining and all of that brings down the team, and a lot of people yelled at me, and guess what? I was dead right, because he credited his lack of complaining in the following games as to why they won and started winning. So that was him, his own words, which means coaches talk to him, other players talk to him, whoever. I said that will always hold him back, and it was holding him back. And then when he finally stopped and stopped carrying on and skipping plays, he got better. That matters. So I feel validated for that, but that's not the real point. Here's the real point that I want to drive home. We've already established Luka, great player, unbelievable player, awesome player. Now let's get into why Nick Wright is just so biased. So biased that it's painful. It hurts. This bias is so painful. Okay. Number 1. He said that the Clippers are not a good team. That James Harden is not good. And that Kawhi Leonard can't stay healthy. And PG-13 is streaky. That they are not a good team. If they are not a good team, beating them is obviously not impressive, right? Kawhi Leonard literally couldn't play. James Harden, we know, has epically failed throughout his career in playoffs. We know that for a fact. That's his biggest, gigantic issue in his career that people always call him out for. So there you go. Beating the Clippers, not impressive. Kawhi Leonard, literally not healthy. And actually even brought the Clippers down because he tried to play, was essentially wasted space on the court, and hurt the Clippers. The Clippers were better when he just straight up didn't play. So that's number 1. Number 2, now they beat OKC, a team that I thought OKC should have won this series. But everyone, including Nick, talked about how young they are, how this is like the youngest team in the NBA, in the playoff history or whatever, the youngest 1 seed, whatever it is, one of the youngest teams, and how that's going to be an issue come time playoffs, and how that a lot of people argue that this is like one of the weakest number 1 seeds in NBA history, in recent memory at least, and that they're just not going to be able to get the job done. In fact, a lot of people, especially out there, they all said that the Lakers should lose on purpose to try to play OKC because that's how lack of respect they had for OKC as a team. That was Nick Wright. That was even Broussard, Wilds. Like, they all had that conversation, whether it be on First Take with Shannon Sharp, like all of those conversations. This was a generally accepted conversation. And everyone also said OKC is going to beat the Pelicans, but after that, they're going to lose to whoever wins the Clippers versus the Mavericks. So now enter Luka and the Mavs. They end up beating that team. And honestly, that game 6 was a gift by the OKC. That foul was just, I'm not even going to talk about that. But that happens. They lost. Mavericks won fair and square. And they beat them. So again, he gets to the Western Conference Finals by beating 2 teams that Nick Wright has emphasized greatly they are not good teams. So please tell me how beating 2 bad teams, in his eyes, is impressive now. Please tell me that. Because that does not make sense. That does not make sense at all. And you can see the way how he unpacks arguments, because he's acting like now that this is this big accomplishment of leading this team to the Western Conference Finals. One, let's not get this twisted. This is not the NFL where reaching the AFC or NFC championship game is a big deal. No one in the NBA cares about the Western or Eastern Conference Finals. They just don't. Maybe the media tries to hype it up because they want, clicks and traffic and all that type of stuff. No one cares. Even just making it. Winning an NFC championship or an AFC championship is a big deal. You got players wearing those rings, especially the players who haven't won Super Bowls. That's a big deal, and they wear it with pride. You can just go ask Dawkins, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. The NBA, it's not. Do you think the Warriors care that they made it to the finals and then lost, but they're like, hey, well, we were Western Conference champions? No, they do not care. Do you think the Lakers and LeBron James is like, hey, I made the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. That's pretty good, right? No, don't think so. They do not care. We know they do not care, especially the players. That it's all about rings, winning titles. We know that. That's why they form all these super teams. That's why just reaching the Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals is not good enough for a Damian Lillard, for a Giannis, for any of these other players. It's rings, 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 titles, championships, gotta win, gotta win, gotta win. That's why LeBron James bounces all over the NBA. So let's not act now that reaching the conference finals is somehow this like great big accomplishment. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome. It is. Like, as a fan, you want your team to at least get there. I get it. But the players themselves, it's not a big accomplishment. It's just not. It's absolutely not. When LeBron acted like it was a big deal when they won, and was with the Cavs, and he was then going to go face the Warriors, he got ripped apart because they were celebrating and acting like they just won the NBA Finals. And they were just like, what are you doing? You won the Eastern Conference Finals. Congratulations. Like, get on with it. And it was an embarrassing moment. They literally called LeBron James out. And now just reaching the conference finals is a celebratory, this is how good this player is. Get out of here. Get out of here. A lot of people don't even give LeBron flowers for reaching the finals in general. Because they say, well, look how many times he lost. And now we're just clapping and raising people up and singing songs to them for just reaching the conference finals. Get out of here with this nonsense. It's nonsense. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. You think if Jokic reached the Western Conference Finals and lost, what do you think Nick would say? Nick would rip him apart and say, you were supposed to go to the finals. You're supposed to win. You're the best player in the NBA. What are we doing here? He was talking about how Jokic and the Nuggets were this epic collapse against Minnesota rather than Minnesota just winning that series. So they just have all this backwards here. Big time. And this is the bias in sports media that really drives me crazy. Because, again, now I'm sure other people, like maybe Mavs fans, will be like, well, you're biased. This is a great thing. Guys, please tell me when anyone was celebrating reaching Western Conference Finals. I don't care at what age. Just please. I can't even name teams and players when they reach the Western or Eastern Conference Finals. But you can do that in football. You know the team. That's why everyone talks about the Cowboys not even reaching the NFC Championship game and how that's a success, just reaching the NFC title game. There was Brock Purdy went to back-to-back NFC championships. That was a big deal. Those are big deals. But also, let's be clear, once you reach a certain level of eliteness and amazingness, just reaching championship games isn't good enough. Like, if Patrick Mahomes was just getting into the NFC championship games, that wouldn't be enough. Right now, it is Super Bowl or bust for Patrick Mahomes. Every year that he doesn't win a Super Bowl is essentially a failure, relatively speaking, of course. And yet, we say that Luka is this unbelievably amazing player, well, then he should be doing more than just reaching the Western Conference Finals. And again, he beat two teams that this table, everyone at this table, said were not good. You beat an injured, old, inconsistent Clippers team, and then beat a super young OKC team that people were saying that teams should lose to try to play them on purpose because that's how bad, that's how much they don't respect OKC. And so now beating those teams is just it's, January 1st, it's New Year's, it's an epic party. Come on, man. Get out of here with that nonsense. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys think? Do you think what does this run mean for Luka? Do you think it's that big of a deal? Do you think it's he's a jolly good fella? Or do you think it's basketball? Congratulations. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And I have a feeling a lot of people are not going to be happy with this take. So by all means, let me hear it. And please don't forget to subscribe. We are building such an amazing community here, and I would really love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.